Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome to the Arrowhead Kingdom Chiefs Cast live from the MKE, where today we will be talking Chiefs tailgates. I, as always, am Josh, and a big reminder that all Chiefs fans are invited to join us for game day. Visit arrowheadkingdom.org to learn about the group and find your local chapter. Also, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And we're, of course, presented by Complete Weddings and Events, your leading provider of photo, video, DJ, photo booth, lighting, and coordination services. Visit them at completewedo.com. All right, so today we're going to get into the Chiefs season opener and what the Arrowhead Kingdom group has going out there. And so I'm joined by the Arizona Chiefs fan leader, Hachi Keeney. So welcome.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so Arizona Chiefs, let's talk about that group. How'd you get this started? How many people did you start with? Talk about the growth trajectory. I'm guessing the story starts with me and a couple guys, and then you snowballed.
Well, it's funny, actually. So I've been out in Arizona since '94 when I came out here to go to ASU. And for a long time, it was kind of like pick a random sports bar and hope to goodness they'll even show the Chiefs. And then maybe possibly you'd run into somebody with the Chiefs jersey on or hat on and be able to sit with them and get along. So about 8 or 9 years ago, my friend Nancy Stevens, who's an event promoter, she was the music director at radio stations, and she's also a Chiefs fan, bought a bar in Scottsdale called Pub Rock. And she asked me one day, she's like, "Hey, should I get the NFL ticket and start showing the games?" I was like, "Sure." Between all of us, we probably know about 10, 15 people. So she bought the bar and we started watching games, inviting people over. And so it was about 10 to 15 people, myself and this guy, Brandon, who's no longer in the group. I kind of don't know where he went. Maybe he'll watch this today and say hi. Yeah. But we started, kind of reaching out, figuring out how to do Facebook groups because neither of us had done those before. Like we actually had like a Facebook page as opposed to a group. So it was kind of crazy. And then it just so happened the next year, the Chiefs played the Cardinals, and I think it was a regular season game. I'm not sure. And so basically I spent the whole game, I had printed up some business cards with our group on it and spent the whole game walking up to every single person with a Chiefs hat, jersey, whatever, saying, "Join our group, join our group, join our group." And so then it started to slowly grow, and it started to grow organically. And at the same time, Pub Rock was starting to grow. And so we're kind of, we talk about Pub Rock and AZ Chiefs Kingdom are very intertwined. And while we have other bars, it's kind of in our home. It's the place we started. And I was there, and I hate, even though I sell advertising for a living, and even though I hate selling, I sell advertising, I hate watching advertising. I hate watching commercials. I hate that downtime in between plays. And so I was a DJ in college. And one day I said to Nancy, I was like, "Hey, Nancy, can I just plug my phone into the board and play music during the commercial breaks?" She's like, "Yeah, totally, go ahead." Because Pub Rock is a live music venue, not just, it's not a sports bar. And so I started playing music. And then since I was sitting up with the soundboard, the microphone was there. And one day I maybe had a few too many soda pops and maybe a shot of tequila or two. And I grabbed the microphone and I started, not calling the game, but rather like doing things that you hear at Arrowhead, like,
Yep.
The Chiefs Kingdom for, first down kind of thing. And, the third down deep voice thing. And of course, Holtis with the touchdown Kansas City. I started doing that stuff just because it was fun and we were messing around. And it started to turn into something. And then Mahomes is what, in his 5th year? Is that right? 6th year?
5th.
Okay. So
17,
then we
18,
signed
19, 20, 21, 22. So this
22.
is the 6th. Yeah.
So then we signed Mahomes. And we were doing pretty well with Alex and things were going well. But of course, we get Mahomes in the game, his second season starting. and Pub Rock exploded. We were packed to the gills. The group doubled. I think we were at 250, and by the end of Mahomes' second year, we were at almost 1,000. And we actually started having to turn people away from Pub Rock. The group got super big. I actually had to ask my friend Jeff, who comes to the game, sits right in front of me at the DJ booth, to come in and help admin the group. And it just has grown exponentially to the point that for the last couple of years, we tried to find bars in other parts of the city so we could encourage people, hey, go to a bar in Glendale. Here's a bar in Glendale, so you don't have to drive all the way to Pub Rock, because it takes about 45 minutes to get, from the west side to get to Scottsdale. And so, we've struggled holding on to bars, because it's like trying to have a Chiefs Kingdom group, like a Chiefs group, and having bars in Kansas City, but having one in Kansas City, Overland Park, Shawnee,
Yep.
Liberty. It's like trying to get all that done. We've got 3 really solid bars this year. Pub Rock, well, actually 4. We've got Pub Rock, Fat Turtle Barbecue, which has 2 locations, and then a new bar this year, Wicked Brews and Bites, which is down in Ahwatukee, which is the southern part of Phoenix. So we're always looking for more, but we've just had an amazing growth. And Nancy was on like the Chiefs did this show a couple years ago. I think it was like 6 years ago, 7 maybe, where it was like profiles of Chiefs fans all across the country.
Yeah.
And she was on. They did a profile of her. They came out to Pub Rock, filmed a bunch, did a whole bunch of interviews. So that helped us too. And then, just starting to get online, getting mentions. The Arrowhead Kingdom, Doug from Arrowhead Kingdom, like putting us up on his site and telling people about us. And so we've just grown and grown and grown, thankfully. And, now next, this coming weekend, we're expecting just thousands of people in Arizona for this game. And, of course, having such a great team that we do helps, but never in my wildest dreams when I moved here in 1994 did I think we could have more Chiefs fans than Cardinals fans in their stadium. And I think we will this coming Sunday.
Yeah. No, that's a wild story. I've actually been to a game at Pub Rock. It was the game against the Patriots, the on to Cincinnati game, where they absolutely throttled. That's been a number of years, and I mean that this whole thing didn't age well. But I have a bunch of friends from Boston, and so I started texting them because that was the beginning of the year when Brady started getting the really heavy, when are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? And he said, well, I'll retire when I suck. And so I start texting all these guys going, so is Tom Brady going to retire now? I mean,
right.
He kind of sucked in that game. And then he's gone on what, 3 more Super Bowls?
Right. I did the same thing to my Boston friends because, I went to high school in Connecticut. So I know
gotcha.
a lot of New Englanders, a lot of Patriots fans, and I have a lot of friends from Boston out here. And I think, all the Chiefs fans that did that to our Boston friends kind of created a karma backlash on ourselves sometimes, because now we're stuck with Brady. He doesn't seem to ever want to leave. So, but, we've been lucky in AZ Chiefs Kingdom to have some really amazing people and people that really care about the Chiefs, but also care about the group, care about, Pub Rock, care about making sure everybody feels welcome, which I think is really important, especially when we're all essentially, we're living far away from the place where we love most to watch football.
Yeah.
And everybody knows, Arrowhead Stadium is one of the nicest places to watch football in the country, in the whole league. I went to, of course, I've been to Oakland, and that's not a nice place. That wasn't a nice place at all.
That
but like,
with the shows games, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you hear it from other fan bases. They're like, oh, I went to Arrowhead and it was so nice. It was so much fun. And we try to do the same thing at Pub Rock. We're all nice. I'm constantly like, when we run out of seats, I'm like, guys, we're a family here. If you've got an extra seat at your table, invite somebody over.
Yeah.
But then if we have fans from other, the other teams coming, I always joke around with it. I'm like, every time, your team scores, your price is double, but it's a joke and we laugh about it. We have a good
Yeah.
time. And that's the environment we built up at Pub Rock, where now we've got like food trucks coming every week. We get constant expansion of premises. So we've really stepped our game up as a group, and Pub Rock has done an amazing job. And then Kelly up at Fat Turtle Barbecue up in Cave Creek and Anthem. So it's for anybody that doesn't know Phoenix, it's like way north Phoenix is Cave Creek, and all the way even further north is a place called Anthem. So, he's created these great barbecue restaurants that are reminiscent of Kansas City barbecue. It's about the closest thing to Kansas City barbecue you can get in Arizona. And so he's done a great job creating an environment that's very worthy of being a Kansas City Chiefs bar and part of AZ Chiefs Kingdom. And then Wicked Bites and Brews has come in this year and has just done everything they possibly can to be a good Chiefs bar. They asking me about the music I play and what I do, what are the things I say. And for the first time ever, I'm getting other bars calling me, going, reaching out on Facebook, going, how can we be your bar and how can we have you guys? And it's all because, Mahomes and Kelsey and all the guys have created a place where the Chiefs fans want to be together watching.
Yep.
Because there's, I remember watching at, a sports bar on Mill Avenue in Phoenix, and kind of it was so bad I almost didn't want people to know I was a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so to go from that and like the late 90s, early 2000s to an environment where we have to tell people to get to the bar early, to any of our bars early to get a seat, is amazing. And the group has just exploded over the last 8 years, and just some amazing people. And I think it's a testament to, going back to what I said about Arrowhead, it's a testament to Chiefs Kingdom that we can walk into a place and feel like we're home no matter where we are in the country, because we have these great groups that are so solid. I've had, this Dallas Cowboys fan group come in and watch what we do. Even had an Oakland Raider come in and watch what we do, like they're fans. And
Blown away.
yeah, it's amazing to think that people are kind of learning from what we're doing. And this isn't just my story too. I've heard that from other cities. LA has a couple amazing groups. Vegas has a huge group that's just kicks butt all the time. So it's like, it seems to be that Chiefs Kingdom, the fan groups all across the nation and the world, really know how to run fan groups and how to run watch parties and really do things well, where it's friendly and inviting, as opposed to other teams, which doesn't seem to do it that well.
Yeah, no, I was definitely happy to link up with Doug in a similar way to you, because I mean, I'm based in Milwaukee, so I have a lot of similar stories to you. We don't get the kind of traffic that you guys do, because there's just not as many transients in Southeast Wisconsin. Right. It's just not really a transient place. Not a lot of people gravitate towards there. But the line that I've always told everybody is that I know that there's somewhere in the neighborhood between 300 and 1,000 Chiefs fans in Southeast Wisconsin, and before we're done with this, we're going to find them. So we've got about 200-300 at this point. We can have some pretty big blowout parties. I like you DJ'd in college, and I actually still do weddings and stuff like that. So I've done the music and some of the color commentary, and it was definitely cool to see a game with you guys, and that influenced me and prodded me to be more like that with my group. So you and I definitely need to link up offline and talk about playlists and stuff, because I have a pretty interesting philosophy for like music during commercials and direction and stuff.
I mean, the best advice I could give to anybody is any song that mentions the Chiefs.
Yep.
Any Tech Nine song that's fun.
Tech Nine is fun, absolutely.
And then, honestly, like, just like good fun dance music. I've got a mix of country, I've got rock,
Yep.
dance music like Bruno Mars. I use that a lot. And then, so it kind of fills up the time pretty quick because most commercial breaks are about 2 to 3 minutes. And so if you find if you pay attention to that when you're looking at the song, you can get it right. You can drop right back in right after they, whenever they come out of commercials, they're showing the sponsors and talk about those. They're showing a little vignette about the town, all the way right to, in DJ speak, right to the break, and, drop right into the next play without, with it being seamless.
Exactly,
So
just good fades. What I've always tried to do is try to build a playlist that's really indicative of where the Super Bowl is going to be. So the most fun year was Miami, because Miami has great music. I mean, you can do throwback stuff like Gloria Estefan. I mean, Pitbull calls Miami home and stuff. So there's plenty of fun music like that. But in addition, I mean, you can dump the Miami Vice theme in anytime you want to. You can be kitschy with stuff like that. So yeah, no, it's definitely fun, and I agree with you. It adds to the atmosphere, and I mean, Arrowhead, like you said, is a one of a kind atmosphere. I've been to a bunch of stadiums across the country, and I mean, I live a couple hours from Lambeau, so I definitely have to say that that's a nice place to watch a game, and they have something
I can imagine
there, but they don't blow Kansas City away by any stretch of the imagination. It's It's funny, after the last game that I went to up there, somebody made a comment because the Packers, when they're like, well, at least you got to see Lambeau. I'm like, well, why don't you go see Arrowhead before you start making comments like that, first of all?
Yeah.
Like, because I've been to both, and they're both cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I would love to go to Lambeau. I have some friends who are Packers fans, and I was like, we should take you to Lambeau. And I'm sure it's an amazing environment, but can you walk around the parking lot in Lambeau and be handed a plate? Can you a barbecue? Like, it's like the environment of Arrowhead is so amazing. And I mean, this Sunday we're going to be tailgating out at State Farm Stadium. Basically, so in Arizona, we actually have two groups that are kind of subgroups of AZ Chiefs Kingdom. We've got kind of the Phoenix Metro and North, and actually from a little town southwest called Maricopa, all the way north. And then we've got Tucson, the Tucson chapter, which has their own page. They're still part of us. They're still part of AZ Chiefs Kingdom, and I love those guys to death. So actually what happened was, because we were trying to figure out where to put people, Tucson had already moved forward because they've got a smaller group, and they're like, okay, we're going in Orange West. And I said, well, that's great, but I'm pointing people to Green East. And they're like, fine, we'll have parties on both sides of the stadium. And that's what we're doing, so if people are coming out and they bought parking passes for the west side, Orange West and over there, the Tucson Kingdom is going to be over there. If they park in Green East or Blue or any of the lots on the east side of the stadium, we're going to have a ton of Chiefs fans tailgating, having a good time, walking around. I'm going to be renting a pickup truck, filling it with water and soda, and putting some tables and games in. And we're going to have a little bit of a potluck. People are welcome to come out. Just look, I've got, if you go on Facebook, our group is AZ space Chiefs space Kingdom. Look for it. We welcome everybody. It's not just about Arizona, but we've got a really cool Arrowhead Chiefs logo with the state flag for Arizona in the background. Look for that. I've got a big flag. Look for that and come say hi. And we're going to have a blast on Sunday. But that's the kind of thing, like, we're able to transplant Arrowhead Stadium's parking lot to Kansas, to Phoenix, or to Lambeau, to wherever we go, because Chiefs Kingdom knows how to tailgate for sure. And I don't really have to do much work on it. I'm just like, guys, buy your parking passes on the east side.
Show up, just show up. It's the same as in the Kansas City parking lot. Yeah. No, I think
you plan to do every year.
Yeah. I think the Chiefs come back up to Lambeau next season, so there you can plan your trip, because
there you go.
We will be throwing a party.
Well, and it's funny, and I absolutely will look into that. But it's whenever I leave the my co-lead for the group, or whatever you want to call him, Jeff, does the sound, and he wants to watch the game. He has a blast watching the game.
Yeah.
So he's always like, you need to get back here. I'm like, well, I'm at the game, dude. I'm kind of enjoying myself.
Well, exactly.
So I go to Arrowhead once a year around Christmas time, because I come back to see family and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we have fun here. We have fun at Pub Rock. We have fun at Fat Turtle. We're gonna have fun at Wicked Bites and Brews. We have fun, and we're nice, and we love each other.
Yep, and I can definitely attest to that, having been in there. I mean, I've been to watch parties all over the country, and the Pub Rock one is just one of the best experiences, and one that I talk about, and that's the truth.
That's nice to hear.
You guys do a bang up job there. You really do. All
Thank
right.
you.
So anything else anybody needs to know about for this weekend, other than look for the Chiefs flags on the east or west side of the parking lot and just join in? It's no different than Arrowhead. Welcoming atmosphere. They're looking forward to you. If you're in Arizona and you're not planning on going to the game, you got Pub Rock, you've got the Fat Turtle Barbecue, and what was the third place?
Wicked Bites and Brews is our third spot.
Yeah.
And then a couple things. So Saturday afternoon, starting at 4:00 at Pub Rock, we're gonna have a meet and greet for anybody that's coming into town. We've got wants to come and see Pub Rock, see how all the jerseys we have up on the wall and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna have another podcast is going to be coming and recording, and we're going to have food. Philly Cheesesteak Company is going to come out and do food. We're going to have drink specials all day. And what's really cool is we're lucky enough here in AZ Chiefs Kingdom to have a former player, a Chiefs Hall of Famer, who lives out here and loves to come out. So Nick Lowry, Nick the Kick,
nice.
Is a good friend. He comes out to the bar all the time. Sometimes one time he showed up with Christian Okoye, and my head almost exploded. But so Nick is going to come out at 5:00 on Saturday. He's got a new tequila that he's promoting, but also he'll be signing autographs. And whenever he's got posters that he'll sign, he'll be signing autographs. They're usually $10 to $20. And all that money goes to St. Vincent de Paul. Nick does a really cool event multiple times a year called Champions for the Homeless, where people go out, including former NFL players. Dave Craig, I met at one event, former Chiefs player Dave Craig. And so but they come out and, we serve food to the homeless. But what's really amazing about what Nick does, he takes all the money in donations that he gets and goes out and buys $5, $10, $15, $20 gift cards at McDonald's, Starbucks, all the, kind of restaurants.
Places that are everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he will go and Nick is such a loving guy. It's really amazing to have gotten to know him over the last 7 years. And he inspires me all the time, because he goes and a lot of homeless people don't get treated well. We try to ignore them as often as we can.
Sure.
Nick treats them like humans, and he treats them like people that should be cared for. And so this love that Nick has in his heart for people, it's infectious. He comes out and he's so giving, and he's such a wonderful guy. So if you're going to be in town for the game and you can make it over to Pub Rock in Scottsdale, come on over and meet Nick. He's an awesome, awesome guy. He's so loving and friendly. He came to my wedding reception a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. Wow. And danced up a storm with my 80-year-old mother.
That's awesome.
And he's a super great guy. He'll be signing autographs. Like I said, it'll probably be anywhere from $10 to $20, depending on what you're asking him to sign, but it all goes to charity. And
sure.
We'll be promoting his tequila. We'll also have some raffle giveaways, drink specials, and I'll be playing music whenever I can. So it'll be a little bit like Sundays. And then the next day during the game, if you didn't get tickets to the game or if you're not able to make it out there, go to Pub Rock, go to
Yeah.
Fat Turtle, go to Wicked Brews. Now it's not going to be Pub Rock's not going to be the same environment because Jeff and I aren't there to be the MCs and the DJs, but it's still a blast and it's still such a good time. And we're really looking forward to having Chiefs Kingdom invade the Valley because we only get that like once every 8 years or something like that.
Yeah. Every 8 years is when it lines up when you're in the NFC in particular. Yeah, that's it. I have to wait every 8 years for Chiefs to make it up this way. So I'm
for
right
a regular
there with
season game. Yeah, for a regular season game, that's all we got. We got preseason last year, and this year, knock on wood, we're going to get 2 games here in the Valley because we got the Super Bowl here in February.
Absolutely.
And I think the team we have put together can do that. Truly.
I agree with you. So one more thing before we get into the team that I just want to ask. You guys also have a concert at Pub Rock on Saturday night too, right? You have a band coming in?
Yeah, so there'll be a band
that's
coming in.
That's what Pub Rock is.
Yep. Pub Rock is a live music venue, and they have some really, really good music there all the time. So definitely check out their website. But they're going to have a band there that night. I don't quite know who they are. I'm old now, which, being a former college DJ, I feel horrible that I don't know the band. But anybody who comes out to our barbecue or our meet and greet, we'll get in to see the band for free. Thank you, Josh, for looking that up because I know that's what you're doing right now.
Yep.
But you'll be able to get in to watch the band for free. Please stick around, have a good time, have a couple drinks, have a couple beers. Sean and Nancy won't be back. She's working an event. She's working this event that's going on all over the country with Tim McGraw called Boots in the Park.
Yeah.
She's working one of those the night before. So she's actually flying in early morning on Sunday. But Sean and his whole team at Pub Rock will take care of you. They're good people. They're friendly people. And yeah, the music's going to be good. Did you pull up the band name?
I did. So you guys have Jacob Noel, and that's JKOBNOWELL. So he's part of a band in the Long Beach area called Law. So this is his solo show that he's coming through. But so he's a California rocker that's going to come out and make a bunch of noise and play some good music.
That makes sense now because somebody was like, isn't it like the lead singer of Sublime? I'm like, I don't think Rome is coming out here to do a solo show at Pub Rock. Yeah. But what we were trying to do a lot bigger stuff, and it didn't really pan out. But at the end of the day, just meeting up and having a good time and
so by the way, this
Chiefs fans is fun.
This is Bradley Noel, the original lead singer of Sublime's son.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. So you.
Okay, I thought they were talking about Rome, but that makes more sense.
No. So you have a spawn of Sublime coming out. So I mean, that's a show worth sticking around for.
Well, save for the drug use. If he's got any chops like his dad, it'll be a pretty darn good show.
Yeah, don't do heroin; it's bad. That's a PSA.
No,
out here, nothing good comes out of that.
Don't do drugs, kids. But just look at me. I did a lot when I was younger. It's not good. But yeah. So it'll be a great show. You can see Jacob Noel and hear some good music, drink some good drinks, and drink a lot of tequila.
Yeah, absolutely. Have some of Nick Lowry's tequila. All right, so
yeah, I'm actually going to pull that up really quick. Yeah, because he's actually got it all over the place. It's called El Bandito Yankee Tequila.
El Bandito Yankee Tequila.
Yep. So he's got it all over. They're expanding quickly. They're fairly new. Tequila is kind of not the new thing, but celebrities all have it. But the group that Nick is with putting it out are really, really good. And it's a really good tequila. So if you're somewhere next Sunday and you need a tequila, ask them for El Bandito Yankee. And if they don't have it, ask them why they're so dumb.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Tequila is the next thing in this craft distilling thing, because vodka is what everybody started with, and
yeah,
after everybody got bored enough with making beer, because everyone's making beer, the cocktails and everything started to go, and Tequila is the next horizon. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's funny. Like growing up in Kansas City, the only tequila I ever had growing up was Cuervo,
Or
and
Montezuma.
yeah, or um, so my friends and I, we're in high school and we call it tequila. And then I get
Yeah,
out here and I realize that tequila is so much more, and it's like it can be a sipping
it
cocktail,
can be
or
good. It can be
it can
not
be
a bad
really
decision for a
good.
long night.
Nah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, I've also learned about the industry a lot. A musician that's a client of mine, his name's Roger Klein. He's got a band called Roger Klein and the Peacemakers.
Yep.
He's got his own tequila that was called Mexican Moonshine for a while. It's got a different name now, but like I learned a lot from them about how the tequila industry works, because
Yeah.
it's all imported. Everything is imported, but like there's only a few tequila, so agave farms down there that make
Yep.
tequila, and so then it becomes a thing where you're going down and picking your blend and creating your blend,
Yep.
and then they've got that recipe on file. So like all these different groups that make their own tequila, they're all coming from this, like 4 or 5 different farms down there, but it's all the blend and how they do it and all that kind of stuff, and the aging and what they're putting in there. So it's pretty cool stuff, but
Well, that's
definitely check it out.
how much care you do. I mean, there's a really good distillery called the Great Lakes Distillery here in Milwaukee. It was founded by a guy named Guy Rayhorse. The first thing they put out is Rayhorse vodka, but it's one of the best tours that you can go through, and you just stand in a warehouse room, and the guy who normally leads, it's a Bronco fan, so I always make sure that I wear a Chiefs hat when I'm in there, and
Good
I
man. Good
yeah,
man.
we sit there and rib each other in the middle of this, and I think he actually like remembers me at this point because we've gone in there often enough. But the way he always describes things, it's all the care and how much you want to pay attention, because when you, without getting too deep into distilling, there's the heads and the tails, and so it's all figuring out when to stop, taking stuff out, and when to start, and so you want to get all the heads or the acetones and all the things that can make you go blind and stuff like that out. And if you're
Yep.
really paying attention, then you don't have as much of a yield as you normally would. And people like Montezuma just get there as quickly as they can and put sugar in. So yeah, exactly.
I'm having like high school flashbacks
Yep,
of
yep,
like
me too.
summertime. Oh, hey, try this. It's called Montezuma, or try Cuervo, or hey, I got this thing with a worm in it. Oh my God, what are you doing? And all of a sudden being passed out for 4 days. So,
Exactly.
But yeah, so we're gonna have a good time this weekend. Come on out, drink some El Bandito Yankee from Nick, get an autograph from Nick, see the bar. It's gonna be Saturday from 4 o'clock on.
Cool.
Nick's gonna be there starting at 5 o'clock, and he'll be there from about 5 to 6. And then he's got an El Bandito Yankee event at another bar in town to go to. But we're still gonna be sticking around, having a good time, and playing some music.
Rock and roll. All right, so I'm just making some notes to make sure that we get all these web links up when we edit all this. So before we get out of here, let's talk a little bit about the team. So I just want to get your take on 4 things, and I want a projected record, who you think our offensive MVP, our defensive MVP, and rookie of the year is going to be this season.
Wow. Okay. So I've been thinking about our projected record for a while, and prior to the draft and after we'd lost, we lost Tyreek, we lost the Honey Badger. I was a little worried. I was like 10-7. Like, what are we looking at here? But now I'm teetering, and it kind of changes every day between 12-5, 13-4, 13-4. I really think this team, with the young guys we brought in, it's very much going to be kind of like Patrick's first year as a starter, because it's a whole lot of receivers that we've never had on the field before, in red and yellow, and so they can't predict it.
Yeah,
and our opponent, everybody's like, oh well, he's not going to be good without Tyreek, and I'm like, yes, he's good with everybody. He just happened to really enjoy Tyreek for a while. Now,
exactly.
I love Tyreek Hill. I think the Chiefs did a lot for him. I think he's been doing what he's doing to promote his podcast. I'm not going to, but I think Mahomes will actually be better because when he is challenged, he thrives.
Yeah.
And I feel like he got a little bit lazy. And, he'll have Kelsey's never leaving. I really believe that Kelsey,
No, I
knock on
agree. I
wood, is
agree with
never
that too.
leaving.
I agree with that too.
And so he has that safety valve, but he only has one safety valve. A good quarterback doesn't need two, and he had two with Kelsey and Hill. And I think we're going to see the next evolution of Patrick Mahomes this year,
I agree.
and he's going to go beyond. And also we're going to see the next evolution of Andy Reid and Coach Bieniemy. And it's going to be interesting. Do I think we're going to be perfect? Absolutely not. I never do. Hell, I'm the guy that walks around saying we're going to go 500 against the AFC West. Like every year, I expect just even. We're going to go even against the AFC West. Not that that's been the case for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But I'm always the guy that I don't want to get my hopes up, and then all of a sudden it turns into 1987 all over again, and I'm a 7-year-old kid crying into my pillow that the Chiefs are horrible.
Yeah.
So, tempering myself. But yeah, I think we're going to be 12-5, 13-4. Good season. We're definitely going to, I think we're either going to lead the AFC West or be tied for first in the AFC West.
Yeah.
I don't see, honestly, people are like, oh, Russell Wilson's amazing. I'm like, Russell Wilson's old.
Yeah.
And he's on the back end of his career. He's not, we're talking Packers fans might get mad at this. Jeff's brother Zach might get mad at this, but Aaron Rodgers is on the back end of his career. He probably should. If he had sat out last year, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Packer
I see
fans are not
Russell.
as all in on that guy as you think. That's
Okay,
all I'll say.
well, good.
That's all I'll say.
Good.
This area is more divided than a lot of people in the country know.
Yep. Okay, well, good. And
So
then
yeah.
but with Russell Wilson, I've heard some Broncos fans say that this is their next Peyton Manning, and I'm like, no, it's really not. I don't think they have the team to support Russell Wilson. I don't think the coach is good enough to support Russell Wilson. I think, the coaching staff up in Seattle with the Sea Chickens was amazing.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll is I've watched Pete Carroll for years because I'm in, the Pac-10, Pac-12, Pac-2, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
But yeah. But
call.
at the end of the day, yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, I think Carroll was a lot of the reasons that Wilson ended up being as good as he is.
Sure.
But I don't see that. And then, Derek Carr is Derek Carr. And I think Justin out in San Diego is actually probably the second best, in my opinion, second best quarterback in the AFC West.
I agree.
And while I don't believe in, every year we get the San Diego's going to be the AFC West champions, that preseason hype that for some reason, for the last, I don't know, as long as I can remember the internet being around, San Diego's been like, oh, they're always going to lead the division. Even in the Broncos' best years, they're like, oh, San Diego's going to be the best. And we're like, no, they're not.
Exactly.
But I could see the division ending up with Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. I'll never root for the Raiders. I've got a couple good friends that are Raiders fans, and until Carr retires, I'm just gonna never respect them. So.
Yeah, same boat. I mean, I agree with the Peyton Manning Russell Wilson comparison in this capacity. It was John Elway star power, and that alone that drew the quarterback to play there. You're going to get maybe 5 years if you're lucky, and you better get any winning that you want done in the first two, because it's not going to get any better. So I think the parallel is the same right there. Now, I agree with you. I don't think they have the team to have the precipice at the very beginning be what it was with Peyton Manning. Russell Wilson's not going to go out and throw 55 touchdown passes. They're not going to
Yeah.
a Super Bowl, and that's just it.
Well, yeah, and Wilson is no Peyton Manning. Manning was a
exactly
different level.
Absolutely.
And Wilson's good, and he's one ring, whatever.
Exactly.
But he's not here. He's here. He's more like Peyton's little brother.
Yeah.
Not so much Peyton.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
So I think Mahomes is already getting up has moved past from a numbers perspective, like comparison wise. He's looking, knock on wood, to be in that Peyton Tom Brady realm, not in the Russell Wilson realm down here. Good quarterback, but
his floor is the Roethlisberger realm. His floor is the Roethlisberger realm. His ceiling is the Brady, Montana, Manning. So yeah.
So I think we're going to be good this year. I think we're going to win the AFC West. But again, like I said, I always prepare myself for 500 against the AFC West.
Sure.
So that's kind of where 12 and 5, 13 and 4 is, I think, a good estimation of where we'll be.
Got it. Sounds like you're pretty keyed in that Mahomes is going to be the offensive MVP, which he's going to have to make this happen.
Honestly, I think from a quality perspective, he will be there. But and a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this because he's old or older, probably at the end of his career in the next couple of years. But I think Kelce might have a blow up year.
Sure.
And have that kind of year that puts him on the ballot to truly compete with Mahomes for for Chiefs MVP or offensive MVP, whatever. I just think that I have this feeling that Kelce's going to just step up to another level this year. I don't know why.
Like 1,500 yards, 10, 12 touchdowns, something to that effect. Because that's a step up from where he's been, and that's where he's going to have to go to do what you're saying.
Yeah, I think so. I honestly think so.
Okay.
I think there's going to be some really amazing things coming out of Travis Kelce this year.
All right, I would love to sell what you're buying. That sounds awesome.
So would my wife, because she's the Kelce fangirl, just like every other woman I know that's a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
On the defensive side of the ball, my guy Stone Cold. Honestly, I think he's going to have an amazing year again.
Yeah.
We've got a much better defense as a whole this year, and since he joined the team, I never owned a Chiefs jersey until a couple years ago. And I bought Tamba Hali's jersey.
Yeah.
And I bought it after he said, I'll take a pay cut so I can stay and help the team. I think so. I key in a lot on defensive guys. I always have, just from a standpoint of, I really like watching him hit and stuff like that. But Tamba, he was an amazing guy, amazing player, great player. Didn't know the game well and learned it and did pretty damn well at it. And he kind of did the same thing with his music too. By the way, check out his music. It's actually pretty fun to listen to.
Yeah.
But I think Chris Jones is a next level player. And I think that, again, this might be a year where he's able to step into the spotlight strongly. And you saw hints of it last year, and I think it's going to be a lot more this year.
Yeah, I think for that to truly work, we're going to have to get something from Karlaftis, because he can't be the only guy on the defensive line. And I would generally say that's kind of where he's been the past couple years. Everybody else just doesn't really hit the level anything close that he does, and he gets double, triple teamed every time. So yeah, no, that
Yep.
I would highly welcome
And
that.
that kind of you mentioning Karloftis. I mean, he would be my defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
I think he's a very, very strong candidate for rookie of the year. If I could split it in half and say offensive and defensive, I think Karloftis is going to come out the gate and everybody's going to be like, oh my God, how did he not get picked up earlier?
Yeah. Yeah. For him, I think he's going to rack up a lot of sacks in the first handful, we'll say in the month of September. And then I think coordinators are going to kind of figure him out for a little bit, and he'll have that rookie swoon in the middle of the season. But
yep.
There's BJ Kissel made the whole comment of, he could see him breaking Derek Thomas's rookie sack record, which
Wouldn't
is
that be amazing?
Which is just wild to say that out loud. But
right.
he needs to get 11. So
yeah,
let's just say into September he has 5. We really have to talk about that. So
yeah, I mean, just imagine that. Like, I mean, Derek Thomas is a god in Chiefs Kingdom.
Yeah.
He will always be on. Everybody talks these days about your Mount Rushmore of players or whatever. Yeah. I don't care who you are. If you're a Chiefs fan and you don't put Derek Thomas up there, then
you have an invalid
wrong
Mount
with
Rushmore.
You. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that would be amazing to see George kind of come out the gate like that. And with that, that'll allow Stone Cold to do what I think he can do.
Yeah.
Because they won't be able to key in on him. It's the same thing with, like, on the other side of the ball with Tyreek Hill. Offensive coordinators were able to key in on Mahomes likes Tyreek and Kelsey. Let's just key in on those guys. We don't have to worry about anything else because he won't look anywhere else.
Yeah.
On the defense, really the defensive coordinators were able to key in on Chris Jones and be like, well, let's just make sure he doesn't make it through the line, and the other guys will probably be okay with. So I think that our revitalized defense this year is going to be really great. And if it's not, I'm definitely not going to be the last person, and I'll probably be in the first 5 that say fire Spags.
Sure.
Even though he got us a ring and blah, 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 blah. But I just, I do want to see some innovation out of Spags and his guys this year. Yeah. Some really interesting stuff. Like, that's one of the coolest parts about being a Chiefs fan and watching Andy Reid, being able to be Andy Reid without, like, Philadelphia press on his butt, is watching him be innovative and have a great time and do a lot of cool stuff with his plays. So yeah.
Poetry.
I had asked to split the rookie of the years, and on offense, and it's probably going to be an obvious pick, but Sky Moore.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that kid's going to blow up. Like,
I agree.
Sadly, and I love him, but I think he's going to pass Hardman in targets, and get up really high. He's just, I think he's got the stuff to be that number 1 or number 2 receiver.
I think Hardman's going to be the number 1 or the number 3 or 4. It's going to be one of, and I don't know that there's middle ground. He's either going to truly take the crown, which I think he has the skills and tools to do. I mean, really interesting. I don't know if you saw the interview we did recently with the guy who runs the scoreboard. I'll have
to check that out.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds pretty cool.
He's from East Troy, Wisconsin. So I met him, through a coworker and everything. But so I've kept in touch with him, and he sent me a text the other night. Mecole Hardman bowls with him. And
oh wow.
Mecole Hardman just woke up one day and decided that he wanted to start bowling. And so the dude's sporting like a 150, 160 average, which is decent. I mean, that's better than most people that go out and bowl on the evening. But
for somebody that's never bowled before,
exactly.
Insane.
But so he wasn't playing one night, but he sent me a picture of the final screens. Mecole Hardman threw a 695 series like a week ago, which is insane. Which is insane. I mean, when you're talking about bowling, just to make this as basic as possible for anybody that doesn't spend a lot of time bowling, 200's a good game. And what that generally means is that you get a strike or a spare in every single frame. And so you you have a good game with a 200. You have to do that 3 times in a row to get 600. That's hard. 700 is incredibly hard. When you get 800, that means that you're more or less missing 5 shots the entire night, and they put your name on the wall in any bowling alley in the country when you hit 800. So that's actually more impressive than throwing a 300. Most people kind of recognize that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. McCole Hardman, the dude has the tools, and I hope he uses them and becomes the number one. There's nothing I would love more than to see him push Juju into the number 2 spot, which is what I think is best for everybody.
Well, yeah, it's best for the team for sure. I mean, Juju's great and all, but I don't want a rent-a-player being our number 1 guy.
Yeah. And his best seasons were when he was number 2, when he was second fiddle to Antonio Brown. And he got single team because Antonio Brown was getting doubled and tripled.
Yep.
And both of them put up stats. I mean, that's where, I hope we end up. And then Sky Moore comes in and just tries to take both their jobs. I mean, the level of competition in our receiver room and talent, I think, is just incredible.
It's crazy.
And I'm excited.
And I mean, I think Veach, once again, obviously it's preseason, whatever, but I think Veach hit the ball out of the park with this year's draft.
Yeah, I agree.
I think, the talent he picked up, without seeing him play the regular season, for what we had, for the positions we had with our picks, was amazing. I mean, as someone who remembers the Carl Peterson days, but also some of the really bad GMs we've had, to see, Brett Veach have these consistently good finds, I would be surprised if one of the other guys just doesn't pop off the page. I mean, remember, it's, for the most part, and I know this is kind of a debate, but it was Veach who recommended Mahomes.
Yeah, we can't not give credit to John Dorsey. And I thought John Dorsey was an incredible GM. John Dorsey's undoing, nobody's going to convince me that it wasn't that he cut Macklin without telling Reed and Clark Hunt about it. I truly believe that was the incident. I don't know that we're ever going to have that confirmed, but that has to be what happened.
Oh, I think so. I definitely think so. But I also think that, Dorsey, it was really good at finding players.
Yeah.
But really bad at contracts.
Yeah, fair enough. True story.
And I think Veach is really good at finding players, but also knows when to say, go ahead and go.
C. Hill, Tyreek. That was a great example. It's just
Dorsey probably would have been like, okay, we'll give him another, add another $1 million on to what the Dolphins wanted.
He probably
we don't have that money.
He probably would have gotten 32 if he was handing that contract out. Yeah, no, good.
And Mahomes' deal would have been something, everybody said Mahomes' deal was stupid, but one of my friends who owns a restaurant here in town called Angry Crab Shack, he is a Chiefs fan. He's from Shawnee. Big ups to Shawnee Pizza, his favorite place, but he is a numbers guy. And he was like, when Mahomes' contract was signed, he took a look at it and was like, this is not a bad deal at all. And I was like, what do you mean it's not? This is going to bankrupt us. We're not going to be able to sign anybody ever in the future again. This sucks. And he's like, just wait for it. And he actually explained a lot of how the draft and signing and the numbers side of this game, when it comes to contracts, really work. And he was like, first of all, Veach is going to push a lot of money. Second of all, the cap's going to go up consistently, and it's going to go up a lot. Yeah. And he was like, by the time this contract really gets into the meat of it, which is kind of this year, Mahomes isn't even going to be the top paid player in the league, and he's not anymore.
Yeah.
Guys have passed him. And God bless Patrick Mahomes, because he said on TV, it's not about the money, it's about the team. And talk about a Kansas City Chiefs.
I say all the time, the greatest part of Tom Brady is not on the field. It's the fact that he never screwed his team with his contract, and he understood that, because he I truly believe just had this thought in his head that if I go out and win, 4 Super Bowls, I never have to work a day in my life after that.
Right.
and now he has 7. And I mean, he got a $30 million contract to be a TV analyst. And so, like, I see the same level of, get it from Patrick Mahomes. It's like, you got to own the city of Kansas City for the rest of your life,
Right.
and you can up your ownership level in the Royals and Sporting KC and all these other places that you're doing, and you can get endorsements until you die,
Yep.
but just
Well, I
you
mean,
got to keep running with it. And Tyreek Hill made the exact opposite thing. He's like, I want my money
yep.
now. And from a
Yep.
finance professor, financial analyst type of thing, net present value, you want your money up front. Give me everything today. It's like, well, there you go. So he made a
Absolutely.
decision
And
on money, and there you go.
but he, and he made a decision kind of like a sophomore in college made a decision, or like, a college basketball player makes a decision. Like, I have
Yeah.
to worry about getting paid and getting my family paid, so I'm going to take this money. Whereas Mahomes, once his family get paid, but he saw the long game. I mean, if you think about it,
Exactly.
he's in the Royals, he's in Sporting. I would bet money the second he retires, Clark's going to offer him a small percentage of the Chiefs. His
Sure.
wife's in the Current. They're so deep in town, and some people say, well, he doesn't live there all the time. Okay, fine. I'm Kansas City for life, and I don't live there 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But Mahomes is deep in that town, and I think he's going. We of course lost Len Dawson in the last couple of weeks, and he was kind of he took his quarterback level of the Chiefs out to the community, working for ABC for, Channel 9 for so long, and
Yeah.
and working for the Chiefs with practice, because I think Mahomes has some work to do on like the way he talks, but he's getting a lot better.
Sure.
His radio voice is not there yet. I could see him being our generation's Len Dawson after
Absolutely.
he's done playing in Kansas City,
Absolutely.
and being on the level of, like, remember Lenny the Cool also like started the HBO NFL show, and I'm blanking on the name right now, but he was one of the head anchors for that for years. So it's like, it's not on HBO anymore. It's on, I think, Showtime.
Yeah, I know.
But
It yeah, hold on.
it's gonna bug me. But he was there, so it's not just
Inside the NFL.
inside the NFL. It
Yeah.
wasn't just Len Dawson in Kansas City being a big deal. That would be like George Brett in Kansas City is a big deal,
Absolutely.
but he's in Kansas City only. Len Dawson,
And New
when it
Zealand
came
for
to
Lord.
football, yeah, but
sorry.
yeah. But Len Dawson, when it came to football, most people knew him for his football play, not for getting angry at a bit of pine tar.
Correct.
And I think Mahomes can be that next Len Dawson for Kansas City, really being that core presence for long-term Chiefs fans later on. And God forbid this happens, but I think it could be the same thing as Lenny. Lenny won us one ring. One ring. He took us to 2 games. He won us one ring. Pat's the same, essentially the same thing at this point.
Yeah.
Early on, he's at the same point. Do I think Pat's going to win more championships? Absolutely. But he could walk out of his career with that one ring and the 2 Super Bowls. Kansas City would love him forever, and he would be respected by the sports media and probably end up on an inside the NFL type thing, whatever that is in 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And his voice, he's going to get his voice where it needs to be the day that he decides he wants to.
Right, exactly.
It's just
And
hire a vocal coach and work as hard at that as you do on everything else you've done in your life, and there you go.
Yeah. Well, and also, he when he first got signed, he sounded a lot different than he does now. He was a lot froggier than he does now. So it's definitely something that he's worked on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't want him to
I think
completely get it away, get rid of it until he's
right.
in a broadcast booth full time. I like it.
I think, when you look at this roster and the roster we've had the last couple of years, guys that were there, I think Kelsey and Mahomes will always be Kansas City, like rooted, whether or not they live
Yeah.
here, in Kansas, live there. I always say here when I talk about Kansas City. I think they'll be rooted. I wish we had, and maybe Karloftis will become this, but I wish we had defensive players. I wish Chris Jones, like
Yeah.
if I felt Chris Jones was bought into the city, I think he'd be absolutely the most popular defensive player we've had in years. I believe that Chris Jones could be, that Derek Thomas like, without obviously the death, blah 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 blah. I think Chris Jones could be like Derek Thomas in Kansas City if he wanted to be. And it's
Yeah.
not like he's doing anything bad. It's not like he's talking smack about the city and or calling us toxic. But I think he could be. I think he could be that guy on defense that could be that more guy. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, good stuff. So don't forget this weekend, make sure to make your way to Pub Rock on Saturday. You can see Bradley Knoll from Sublime Sun do his music on Saturday night after you meet with Nick Lowry and after you have some Bandito Yankee tequila.
yep.
That's
And
what it's called,
come
right?
on out and say hi. Yeah, El Bandito. You
El
got to put the
Bandito
EL
Yankee
in front of it.
tequila.
It's the white way of doing things is make sure you put L in front. EL. It's got to say EL in front of it. So yeah,
There
El
you go.
Bandito. We'll have cheesesteaks. The cheesesteak food truck will be out there serving food. I'll be out there. You can come and point and laugh at me and have a good time, and then come out Saturday or Sunday morning to Green East, find the AZ Chiefs Kingdom flag, walk around, and there are going to be a lot of people there that will I guarantee you will see people and you will feel like you're at Arrowhead Stadium's parking lot with all the people that'll be friendly and nice to you. But remember, it's hot. It was like 100 degrees today. So be prepared for heat when you come out to Arizona. If you come out early and you go hiking or any of that stuff, drink water like crazy. It's a dry heat, so you don't sweat, so you don't know about it. But be careful. Don't expect it to be 75 like it is in Kansas City right now, or whatever it is in Kansas City. It's going to be in the 90s or the hundreds. So
Hydrate
please
the
drink
day
water.
before. Hydration is what you did the day before. That's
Hydrate the day before, hydrate the night before, hydrate the morning before.
Exactly.
Every other drink, it should be beer water out
Yep,
here until
exactly.
you get into the stadium. The stadium is nice and cool and it's beautiful. But
Yeah.
until that time, if you're partying out in the parking lot, make sure you hydrate and take care of yourself because it's going to be 100 and something that day, I guarantee you. So take care of yourselves and welcome to AZ Chiefs Kingdom. And I can't wait to meet every single person that's watching today. And hopefully Josh will get up to Green Bay next year to see a game and meet you in person as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I'm hoping that I can come down and meet you in February. So
Hey, that's the other
yeah,
thing. We got to
that's
be good so I can get everybody back here in February and have the real
exactly.
parties.
Exactly.
So, well,
Roger
cool, man.
that.
Well, thank you very much for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Chiefs Kingdom, see you guys in Arizona and take care.